All right, so here we are rolling deep with our 3 day heavy restriction, another one. But I'm starting to wonder if it's maybe been the background that is too provocative, right? It's got, the angry character, maybe that's why. Maybe TikTok doesn't like the background. Maybe that's the reason for the restrictions. So I might try a little bit of streaming again and see if any more restrictions come in. If I do get one more, then I'll be calling it for the day, definitely. It'll be getting too dangerous at that point. But in the meantime, yeah, we can try and do some more debates, try and have some more discussions. Yeah, hopefully this is a more friendly background for TikTok. We'll see. Maybe it will hate it even more. Yeah, that's the spirit, absolutely. We do have to stand up and take action, speak out for the victims. So basically, the plan really is to just keep gathering together as many people as possible to make the movement as big as possible. You have to think about it this way, right? Think about 100 years from now, how big the movement will be compared to what it is now, right? So we are building that, we are making it possible. And even if it is difficult to get new activists, and even if we don't have more than 100 at the minute, and we still have a lot of room to grow, even if it's difficult, we are still making a difference, and we have to believe in that difference, and we have to believe in the future that we're building together with our activism. So yeah, 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 1,000 years from now, hopefully the movement will be in a position to actually protect people and animals from suffering. So yeah, we have to do it either way. And, people sort of have a choice where, are you going to make suffering impossible? Are you going to, proceed with the highest standard of safety possible where, no life is in danger, no life is being tortured? Or are you going to say, forget it, let's use half measures and provide half safety, let's allow some to suffer terribly? So, you really do have to choose which you're going to go for. Are you going to go for the effective way to provide safety, or, ineffective ways to provide safety? It's really hard to say that we should, advocate for, less effective ways to help life, that we shouldn't advocate against life being forced into terrible situations, right? People literally want life to continue being forced into terrible situations, and the idea that we're saying that it should never happen, somehow it offends them. Somehow they think that's a bad thing. Ellie says, James, I want to know your age. I am 32, believe it or not. Yeah, it looks like my entire audience went over to Luke's stream, because I've just been on their stream and they had like 60 people watching. So yeah, good for Luke. Luke is doing pretty well at debating. They're using a similar background to me. They're doing the same thing. They're debating people about extinction. They're an activist in the movement. But at the minute, they tend to kick people off even faster than I do, right? They give people like 30 seconds basically. So I think they need to work on that. I think they need to, bear with the pain basically, right? A lot of these debate guests are very painful to talk to, and you do have to sort of allow it and bear with it, right? Even Steve, for example, he gets very angry very quickly. But yeah, if you allow them to say their nonsense, it might be painful, but you get a more interesting debate out of it, I think, right? So, and yeah, it's more difficult to deal with all of the nonsense that they're saying in a full way, right? To be patient with them. But that's what we should try to do, I think, within reason, right? Some people do absolutely just go on forever, and it's horrible. So you do have to kick people out. Do you believe this is a prison planet that was created for suffering and we're being held captive? No. Our movement is atheists only. So we don't believe there is any magic. We don't believe there's a God. We don't believe there's spirituality going on. There's no evidence of that, and to be responsible for ending suffering and providing safety, we have to follow the scientific method, which means basically assuming that something doesn't exist until there's evidence that it does, or at least using rationality to judge that, right? But I had someone yesterday say that if I asked him, right, if I tell you the flying spaghetti monster exists, would you believe me? And he said, yeah, I should believe you until I see proof that it doesn't exist. And I'm like, that's just the opposite of how you should live your life, right? That's because I said, right, if someone told you that you can fly, what are you going to do? Try and practice something dangerous to prove it's real? So, you shouldn't believe in anything at all, right? Believing in stuff is bad for you, basically, in the same way that believing in religion is bad for you. So, we don't believe that we can do extinction. We believe that we can try to do extinction. So it's not about belief, it's about trying, right? So beliefs are basically bad for you. It's like saying, I believe it's true, even though I have no, certainty that it's true. I guess you could say that there's no way to have certainty about anything in life, but there's just so many contradictions with religion that it's beyond rational. Like, it's super irrational. Fetal Pillow, how you doing? I'm basically kind of under the gun. TikTok basically has a gun to my head at the minute, and it's giving me restrictions on my live streams like once every 10 minutes or something crazy like that. So I've changed my background to see if that helps. I'm on a 3-day heavy restriction now. They're really cracking down on my streams, unfortunately. They don't like it. So if I get one more restriction, then I'll have to call it a day, because my channel is in serious danger at this point. But I'm going to keep going. If have you thought about getting a job? I've thought about it, but I'm not in a position to do that right now. Dave said he will report you, the guy with the 1-year-old daughter. Well, you know what? It was worth it then. Screw it. Why not? Because, we do have to say the truth, right? And if I'm going to get reported for saying the truth, to some extent, I'd rather stand up and tell the truth and, make a point that, we should be willing to speak up and say the truth, even if you're going to get banned, even if people are going to, attack you or, be angry with you. This is not satire, no. There's actually a lot of extreme suffering in the world. You're probably not aware of it, but it's actually not fair, it's not acceptable, and it is too extreme and too terrible to allow. So the only right thing is to make that impossible, basically. Does the UK education train everybody to become decent debaters? No, not really. Is there a subreddit for pro-extinction? Yes. Our subreddit is r/undo existence. Hello, how you doing?
I've spoke to you before and I support you. I just wanted
Fantastic.
to talk about one thing.
Yeah, go for it.
How are you planning on doing the extinction?
Yeah, the step one, all we need to worry about right now is growing the movement with peaceful activism to get people on board who can work together to make it possible.
I think we should blow up the whole earth with radioactive bombs just to kill everyone and animals.
The thing is, we need to do the most thorough job possible, right? Like, the last asteroid had the power of over 1 billion nuclear bombs, and it still didn't cause total extinction.
Yeah.
So we just need to get together and find out what the most vast and thorough extinction is, and to implement it, basically, the maximum safety.
Yeah.
But that's going to have to be done scientifically. We can't just rush it and just throw some nukes out there. No, we have to do much better than that, basically. To be much more thorough. Even if it takes thousands of years to be more thorough, it's still the right thing. When you have billions of years of animal suffering that we have to prevent and to be certain that we've stopped it.
Yeah.
Okay, Laz, thank you for coming up. And as always,
Hello?
join us on Discord.
Can you
Hello,
hear
how
me?
you doing?
James, I really want to fuck you. You're so hot. Please. I'm like, before you.
That's a shame. That's a shame. You know, with a name like Feminist, I was sure they were going to be a serious person. Okay, let's see who else we've got. Millie,
Hello.
hello. How you doing?
I really want to fuck you, James. James, I just really want to fuck you. Just so badly, James.
You are
Come on,
wrong.
James.
Well, I'll take the compliment, I guess. But let's hear some intelligent thoughts if you've got any, right? Can you not use your brain instead, right? What's more attractive than intelligence, I guess? Well, they've not got it, so they're not very attractive, if you ask me. Who else have we got in the chat? To be honest, I never thought about this before. Yeah, society sort of indoctrinates people to think that extreme suffering is okay, that it doesn't exist, that it's not that bad, that we shouldn't care about doing the right thing, we should focus on our survival, no matter how much harm it causes. And so there's basically like allowance for infinite suffering. My thoughts on veganism are that it's a good idea, but in practice it causes more suffering to wild animals. So, when we get into government, we will try and solve that problem. But right now, a vegan world would have much more suffering. And yeah, you should, like Aya is saying in the chat, you should look at my latest video on my channel. It explains it pretty well. You have like 100 billion farmed animals, but then the number of wild animals on the planet is a 1 followed by 20 zeros. So it's like a ridiculously big number. So there's, farmed animals are essentially a drop in the ocean compared to all of the much worse suffering going on with wild animals in nature, where they're mostly being eaten alive, which doesn't happen to farmed animals. The conditions are quite literally the worst possible. All right, let's see. Do we have anybody else that wants to join and have a debate? It would be good if there is anybody. But right now, let's see. Okay, Estella is joining the stage.
James,
Estella,
please
hello.
just let me fuck you. Please just let me fuck you, man. Please. I had to go on not account because I want to fuck you so
I
bad.
don't know how many
Please,
accounts you've
man.
got.
I'm begging you.
I don't know how many accounts you've got, but I'm going to block all of them. Okay. Anyway, look, if you really want to discuss romance, then you should download Tinder or something, right? Find an appropriate place to do that, right? There's children on this platform. We should be discussing, educational things like extinction. Imagine we succeed, then there's an afterlife. No, there's no reason to think there's an afterlife. And, if there is a God, then we should still try and do extinction anyway, right? It's like saying, oh yeah, we should allow sadists to torture children and animals because there might be a God. Right? That just doesn't make sense. So even if there is a God, which there probably isn't, we should still protect life from being tortured. I'm sure you're hyped for the England game today. No, I don't really follow football. I follow suffering more than football, really. God wouldn't allow kids to rot away with disease. Exactly, right? He wouldn't allow all of the horrific extreme suffering in the world. And if he does, then again, we should still, we should try and stop him, basically, right? Pro-life people worship suffering and literally sacrifice babies for pleasure. That is true, right? I made a video about this recently. I said, babies should not be abused for fun, right? Babies should not be abused for fun. You would think that's a simple concept for people to understand, but most people don't. They actually think that it's okay, because that is what we're doing, right? Animal babies being tortured, human babies being tortured for fun. And even if you've got people doing it directly for fun, torturing them specifically, and then you've also got pro-lifers saying, we shouldn't go extinct because I'm having fun. So even indirectly, the thing is, right? The suffering doesn't become less important or better because you're closer or far away. So suffering on the other planet, on the other side of the planet, or a different planet, or next to me in a different country, it doesn't make a difference how far away the victim is, right? We have to think about all of the sufferers, and most animals are sort of out of sight, out of mind. Most victims are out of sight, out of mind. You have to expand your awareness. Ben, hello.
Can I just fuck you, please? Like, how many positions can I put you in, James?
How many
James,
accounts
please.
have you got, Ben? Just tell me.
Just
How many
please.
accounts? How many accounts have you got?
Please, James.
No, it's a no now. It's a no forever. Okay, this is Ben is why we need extinction, right? He's good evidence for why we need it, right? He's an irresponsible person. All right, it looks like Ben has joined the queue with another troll account, so I'm not going to join that up. I'm not falling for it, Ben. Yeah, I'm calling you out straight away. Okay, let's see. This had better not be Ben. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear
How's
me?
it going?
It's going good. So what's this stream about?
It's activism. We're growing the movement to end all suffering by causing total extinction.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so do you have a family, or do you just like live alone, or?
Yeah, I live alone.
See, if you don't have a family, I'll have a baby with you, and I'll fuck you if you want.
Say again?
I said, if you don't have a family, you can impregnate me, and I can carry a baby.
Well, I might take you up on that offer. It might not have been Ben, but it was probably his brother, Chad or something. Okay, we have another person in the queue. Hopefully it's not Ben.
Please
Ben.
let me fuck you, man. Come on,
It is Ben.
James. James.
Oh, you know what? I've actually just figured out a better method for blocking these people. Because previously I've been focusing on blocking them, but that allows them to shout while I'm doing it. But I can just mute the microphone and then block them. All right, so I've upped my security levels. All right, we have Shah in the stream. Charlotte Hoy, how are you doing there? Thanks for joining us today. PhD says he's scared. There's nothing to be scared about apart from suffering. Doesn't TikTok have a block all possible accounts feature? Maybe. All right, this could be Ben again, right? It's very possible. So let's have a look. Ben, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I was just wondering how I could fuck you. That's just all I'm
I
wondering.
know it. How many accounts does this guy have? Too many. He's blocked again. No, I'm not scared of these guests. They're not actually trying to debate. There's just a lot of trolls coming in. James, why do you think people ask the same questions over and over? Because they have small brains, basically, and they can only think about this in a limited way. And because they've evolved, specific brain structures. So, humans they reproduce, right? It's the same thing. It's a copy of the same thing. So they do have similar ways of thinking, actually. So yeah, that is why you see the same. They say the same things over and over again. All right, we have myself joining now. Hello, how you doing?
I'm great. This is just my last goodbye. We've had some fun now. I'm gonna let you get on with your stream, but please, just one more chance. Can I fuck you?
Ay. That was not me, for everyone. Just so you know, that wasn't actually me. That was somebody else. I promise. Poor James gets harassed because he knowledge gaps relatable. Yeah, we are mogging people. We are. People can't debate against this, basically. What's wrong with these people? They have nothing better to do. They're sadists, probably. Hello, how you doing?
I wanted to ask something because I've been here last night
Okay.
So I asked before, how are you going to do this? And you explained to me. So how are you going to stop people from reproducing?
With euthanasia, right? That provides safety from suffering for them and makes sure that they don't reproduce as well.
Yeah, but like there's people that do not know. Like we can spread the word of
What do you mean?
what we're doing here. But
But what?
there's still people that do not know that they shouldn't reproduce. There is many people that think that
No,
they
we should reproduce. We should reproduce because we can't allow humanity to go extinct before we do animal extinction first. So, we are the solution and we should help those who can't help themselves before we help ourselves.
And after that, we should like go extinct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we also need to, research universe-wide extinction as well. But we should just do as much as we can before we, become safe ourselves. Okay, let's see. We don't have anyone in the queue at the moment, so we can take some comments from the chat. So far, so good. No restrictions just yet, but it's kind of on a knife's edge, really. There's a very high chance that we will get another restriction. Very high chance. But I'm hoping the new background will maybe make the difference. Maybe. Maybe the last one is just too provocative. Okay, James, just want to know if this debate is to raise awareness. Yeah, absolutely. But more than awareness, it's to raise activists. The point is really to grow the movement, to get new activists on board, because really we need action, right? Awareness is good, but we need activists, people who are actually going to take action to help others. So it's more than just awareness. It's about growing the movement, appealing to people to become activists and to try to help the world, to make it a better place for everyone, and a world with, no lives of pure extreme hell. Okay, who else have we got? Hello, how you doing?
Hi,
Yes, hello.
good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So, I agree with everything you say, but I don't agree we should keep reproducing because I don't want my kids to suffer, my own offsprings.
Yeah, and people are going to feel that way, but ultimately, people that care about animals as well, we're going to keep reproducing so that we can help them. And we should do that.
Yeah, and also you said you don't blame your parents because they brought you here. What do you mean by that?
Say again?
You said you don't blame your parents because they brought you into this world.
Yeah, they
But I
didn't know
blame
what
my
they
parents.
knew not what they were doing, right? They knoweth not what they doth done. Right? They were programmed by evolution and nature to just
Yeah, but
reproduce
for me,
without thinking about it.
I support this movement, but I will not bring a child into this
That's
world,
okay.
and
Yeah, that's okay.
I prefer if we go extinct.
Yeah, you don't have to have children, but we do have to advocate for humanity to keep reproducing and to help others first, right? That's the only fair thing to do. It's not fair to focus on human extinction when there are animals who can't help themselves. So we should help those who can't help themselves first. Humanity should continue temporarily until we've helped others first, like animals, and then we can do human extinction.
Okay, thank you.
All right. M, thank you for coming up. And somebody saying, what's your plan for bacteria? Yeah, we should prevent that from evolving. And, if you just do nothing and don't try to prevent it, then guess what? It definitely happens, right? So, people have this whole kind of crazy thing where they're like, "Oh, but life will just come back." Well, it will definitely come back and definitely keep thriving if we don't do anything. So, yeah, you're saying, yeah, it might be difficult to make life impossible to from coming back, but we should try, right? You don't know. You don't know. People are always saying, "Oh, it's impossible," but we should try. Hello.
Hello. I just joined. I had one more question.
Okay.
So we should start hunting animals in order to make them go extinct.
Well, we need to do it as in an organized way, right? And as a government. Because if you just do it as a vigilante, it doesn't work. The animals just get replaced
Yeah.
with new animals. So the only way that we can actually help the victims is to do peaceful activism, to gather together people who can actually, take the next steps and work together to make extinction possible in an intelligent way, right? So no, going into the forest and attacking animals is not going to help.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to ask you because I thought you
However,
thought that.
overfishing is actually, we support that. So overfishing massively reduces the populations of fish very significantly. And we support that. The suffering caused by fishing is nothing compared to a life of pure suffering. And yeah, we can absolutely reduce the populations. So in a sense, fishing, the fishing industry is contributing towards extinction and reduction of suffering. In the same way that, deforestation is also contributing to the reduction of suffering in a good way as well.
How much time do you think this will take? Like how many lifetimes?
We don't know.
This will take a lot of time.
We can only do everything to make it happen as fast as possible. So we can only do our best, basically. But we have to give it our all. We have to give it our best. Do everything we can to help the sufferers to end their suffering.
I'll try to help you with this. Thank you for your time again.
Yeah, thank you for coming up. Thanks for the support. And there's 2 or 3 people in the stream asking, how can I help the movement? And the best way is to start making videos to spread the movement, to educate people. Even if you make simple videos saying, for example, you could do a 20-second video, something like this. The suffering in this world is too extreme. It cannot be allowed. It's too terrible and extreme. Lives of pure hell cannot be allowed. So join us to make total ethical extinction possible, to make bad lives impossible. Join the pro-extinction movement at proextinction.com or through the link on my TikTok profile. Join our Discord, check out our website, read our manifesto, read our FAQ, become an activist. Start educating people on the need to provide safety from suffering for everyone, and the fact that the extreme terrible suffering in this world, the lives of pure hell, are not acceptable. It's not fair. It's not right. We have to make extreme suffering impossible, and the only way to do that is with extinction. If you have a life form, it's impossible to provide and guarantee safety for it. But if there's nothing there to suffer, then there is a guarantee of no bad lives, no extreme suffering, and that's the only fair thing, the only right thing. So join our movement to make this happen at proextinction.com or through the link on my profile. And yeah, join us on Discord, join the hundreds of activists, the community against extreme suffering, against lives of pure hell, and for a fair world where nobody's being tortured. Join our Discord today. And yes, start making videos, start educating people. You can start with very simple messages, right? You can start with 20-second, 30-second, whatever, very short videos. For example, we have to do total extinction to end all suffering. It's the only way to guarantee no more bad lives. Join us at proextinction.com. Right? Even if you did that, like a 15-second video, you can start making those and you can work your way up to more interesting videos, more complex videos as well. But everyone can do everyone can do activism. It's very easy. Is it okay to do less extreme videos? Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, you could just literally say, join us to abolish all suffering at the pro-extinction movement, working to make suffering impossible for everyone. Even something like that would do. You know, the more the better, right? You should start with simple videos and just work your way up. Everyone has to start somewhere. You know, if you look at my very first videos, they were rubbish compared to what I do now, right? I wasn't getting any viral videos. Right, one of my videos just got like 300,000 views, so it's doing pretty well. And you have to work your way up to that. But if you don't practice, then you'll never get there. But yeah, the more people growing their accounts, growing their following, and growing their understanding and ability to educate people on extinction, their ability to grow the movement, that's what we should be working towards. Why can't you find me on Instagram? I don't really use Instagram. My Instagram for the movement is called Abolish Suffering, but I don't really use it. I get more success on TikTok. What I would like is for somebody to help by downloading all of my videos and posting them on Instagram and Facebook and other places. That would be a really good form of activism, right? If you don't want to make your own videos, you can repost our videos and they can get literally hundreds of thousands of views on other platforms. So, you know, you could just make an account on Instagram. It's very easy to download videos on TikTok. Anyone can download any video. You just go onto the settings and you can download any video, and you can start re-uploading it on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And yeah, you know, even if you just went onto my TikTok channel and went onto my most popular videos, right? If you filter it by popular, I have quite a few videos with like 400,000 views, 300,000 views. Right, you could just download my most popular videos and start reposting them on different platforms, even if you're reposting them on TikTok, right? Why not? So everyone can start doing that, and you know, it could give you ideas to start making your own videos as well. My sister doesn't agree with me that we should go extinct. Can you say, I support Jenna's side? Yeah, I support total extinction. If Jenna supports a world with no suffering and a world with no lives of pure extreme hell, then I'm on Jenna's side 100% of the way. But I'm mostly on Shah's side, Charlotte Hoy. That's my number one, right? She takes top priority. James, I miss your makeup. Well, we could put the makeup on if you want. Let's see. And then the lipstick. Oh my goodness, how crazy is that? What do you think? Is this a good enough reason not to do extinction? What do we think? I love batting my eyes with this on, right? It's good, isn't it? All right. So once again, we have nobody in the queue. So if anybody wants to debate and discuss, ask some questions, now's your chance. Now's the time. Join the queue. Let's get you on the stage and let's hear your opinions. And let's keep trying to keep the conversation civil and polite. Amazingly, you know, I got a crazy number of restrictions an hour ago on my last stream, but I've changed the background now in hopes that that was the problem and maybe that will fix it. Seems so far that it has fixed the problem, so maybe that was it. Maybe I can calm down on the restrictions because there hasn't been one yet. But equally, we haven't been getting that many crazy debates going. We haven't been getting much action because of the restriction. Not many people are joining the stream as a result. You would imagine I've been reported, possibly. But equally, I've had it where I've had live streams with 160 people, 200 people, and I didn't get restrictions. So I don't know. I feel like I'm getting a ton of restrictions at the minute. Like just a crazy, like one every 10 minutes, basically. But not on this stream. Again, maybe the background has fixed that. I thought I'd give it a go. So far, so good. All right. Do you think religion causes more suffering or less? Absolutely more. But religion is not the problem. Religion is a symptom of human irrationality. So humans have religion not because they were indoctrinated into it. That is part of it, but it's mostly because their brains are, they don't work properly, so they can be loaded with incorrect software, basically. So you can trick people, you can manipulate them, you can get them to believe all sorts of crazy things, right? There's been loads of different cults throughout history. Not this one. This isn't a cult, by the way, but there have been loads of cults throughout history. And that just proves that, people have something wrong with them to where they can be made to believe crazy things, and they can be, manipulated into it. But again, I think religion isn't the problem. It is a problem, but people have religion because they are fundamentally irrational and because they can't, understand things properly. So that's why they have religion. So, we shouldn't think of, religion is the problem. Religion is causing all of this. You have to take a step further back than that and see what's causing the religion to begin with. And it is irrationality. So, the more rational you are, the less likely you are to be religious. That's just a fact, right? You only have to look at some religious videos and stuff to see that there's something seriously wrong with them. And hopefully TikTok won't mind me saying that, because it's Chinese and China is against religion. So yeah, TikTok, let's be communist together. Sure, why not? Maybe it'll keep me safe from restrictions if I say that. All right, we are still hoping to get new people on stage to get some debates going. So if you think you've got it in you, if you think you have the courage, if you think that extinction is wrong and that you can debate against it, then let's hear your argument, right? Because realistically, there is no argument against making, lives of pure extreme hell impossible for animals, humans, and all life. Right? There's really no argument against that. What if I don't have Discord? Someone is asking. Then you can join our WhatsApp group. The link is on our website. So if you go to the bottom of the page on the website, you'll see the link to our WhatsApp group. But you should also get Discord as well. That's where a lot of the action happens. What do you do for work? Well, mostly I'm doing this right now, and I am starting to make money from it, actually. In June alone, I made like nearly $80, which is not a lot, but I'm building up to it, right? And I've also had donations. Cora has been very helpful, and a few other people donate to me regularly to help me keep going. Is the Discord nice? Yeah. You can come and debate on the Discord. We have an application that you have to fill in and submit to join the Discord. But actually, if you say that, I'm religious and I'm against extinction, you probably won't get allowed in. But if you say in the application, I want to debate, then you probably will get allowed in, even if you are against extinction. So, just wanted to ask what 300k views gets you money-wise. Well, not that much. The thing is, basically, if you get 1,000 views, TikTok makes it about the quality of the views. So they want a really high watch rate. So no skipping halfway through the video. They want people to watch it all the way to the end, and they want them to comment and like it and stuff. And TikTok also uses AI to detect the quality of your video. And basically, if you're just making normal videos, then there's a chance that you'll get paid less. But if you're dressing up, if you're using editing, so for example, I actually got a notification from TikTok today saying, one of your videos is less eligible for monetization because it doesn't have music in the background. And then the app was suggesting some music tracks to put in the background of that video. So that could be something I should start doing, putting music in the background of my videos. It's not something I massively like the idea of, but I've done it a couple of times and it's not too bad. So maybe that's one thing. They also want you to do like high quality video editing, and so yeah, basically I'm not getting paid that much right now, but the more views I get, the more followers I get, that boosts it as well, obviously. And I can absolutely continue trying to work on my presentation and my video editing skills. I should probably really be looking into some guides on YouTube for how to, make your videos more monetizable. You're a terrible person, James, but you're looking pretty today. Thank you. And if supporting making suffering impossible is terrible, then I'm happy to be terrible. This makeup might make people join out of curiosity. Yeah, possibly, right? I'm actually straight, but I do find the filter kind of funny, and why not, right? Let's have fun with it. Clint is saying, let's see, Clint. Oh, you're getting a lot of hate in the chat, Clint. James, in a population of 8.1 billion people, how many pro-extinction people would you say is enough? Well, we can never truly know that, right? It's possible that 1,000 people would be enough, right? If you get a really smart person who can figure out a way to solve all of the problems, right? Why not? And, we could get an AI that solves all of our problems. You might only need 1,000 people in the movement to make it happen, to take over the world. Who knows? But, as a ballpark estimate, maybe like, well, let's see, what would 10% be? That would be 800 million people. What would 1% be? That would be 80 million people. I think we would need probably at least 1% to do a revolution. Probably at least 1%. More than that would be helpful. I don't think we need 10%. I think that's too much. I think you could do it with maybe 2 or 3% of the population, and maybe less, right? Maybe less. Maybe way less, right? Again, it could be 1,000 people can do it if they're just really smart and really capable. And nobody else is actually trying to take over the world, if you think about it, right? No one's actually trying to do that. So we're not really seeing what is possible in terms of making that happen, because no one's really trying to do it, not properly, right? Whereas we are fully committed to doing that, right? Nobody's saying, we want to rule the entire planet. No one's actually really making that effort to make that happen, whereas we are saying that is our top priority, right? Can you really point to anyone else saying that? No, you can't. So whether it's possible to take over the world, we haven't really seen it yet. And yet Hitler used violence, obviously, and you could say he was trying to take over the world, but again, he was doing it for unethical reasons. He was doing it in an animalistic way, an unintelligent way, and he failed ultimately. But because he was the villain, right? He wasn't saying we should provide safety or anything like that. He had no argument. Why not donate all your money to charity? Because that does nothing to end suffering, right? Would you rather donate towards the end of trillions and trillions of animals being tortured, or to a charity that only helps like 1 or 2 animals? You see, it's just not efficient, right? The only efficient thing is to have a system of perfection for all, right? Having a group for veganism, a group for this and that ensures division, right? That ensures that we can't come together and connect and actually, beat the system, basically. How will James buy vapes? I don't vape, actually. Most belief systems pass from parents to children. How would you stop that? That's a good question. What should we do about religion? That's a great question, right? Let's say we take over the world. What are we going to do? Are we going to ban it? Well, I think basically we would try and educate people. But ultimately, if they're just beyond help, then maybe there's nothing you can do. But the thing is, we live in a very unintelligent world right now, right? There's no one's really educating people on the right stuff. Our level of education is very low. Most of the influencers are telling you bad things, right? So under a pro-extinction government, we would be improving all of that stuff for the entire world. We would be making the world a much smarter place in every way, and I think that would boost. That would raise the tides for everyone. It would, raise the level of rationality for the planet, and eventually religion would hopefully disappear. But I don't think it's top priority to deal with religion. Again, it's more urgent to deal with the thing that causes religion, which also causes lots of other problems, basically, right? Which is human irrationality. And as always, I'm inviting people to come up on stage and prove to me that there is a more rational position than extinction, right? Everyone is welcome to come and change my mind. But, we've seen time and time again that people come up here full of bluster, full of confidence, and by the end, a lot of the time they're saying, okay, I have no more arguments, okay, I guess you're right, and okay, I guess I was wrong, and fair enough. Because, providing safety from suffering is the most important thing, the most rational thing that we can do, right? The alternative is to just ignore the extreme suffering going on in the world and to prioritize pleasure over safety from, torture, right? So that's like literally the most irresponsible thing you can do, is to say, yeah, who cares if anyone suffers? Who cares if anyone gets tortured? But that's exactly what we're doing now, right? This isn't some abstract philosophy that I'm talking about, right? Most people are eating animals, they're exploiting animals. Even on that basis alone, it just shows that there's no morality, right? That's indefensible, right? Eating animals without caring about it, right? I eat animals, but I care about it, and I speak out against it. But if you do it without caring about the suffering that you're causing, and you don't care about any of the suffering in the world, right? Then you're just obviously immoral. You're obviously unethical, right? How can you possibly say that, animal exploitation shouldn't be abolished, right? How can you possibly say that? How can you say that, we shouldn't make it impossible for animals to be tortured? What possible argument is that? I eat animals, but I care about it. Yeah, I do, right? The thing is that a lot of the normal world is actually upside down. So extinctionism is the rational position, and a lot of the truths and the realities that you can learn about about the world through extinctionism, they might seem upside down at first, but that's because the pro-life, pro-suffering world is completely upside down. So yeah, you actually can care about animal suffering while still eating animals, because the thing is that if you go vegan, it actually causes more suffering. So you should really care about the bigger picture and the impacts of your actions, right? If veganism actually reduced suffering right now, we would be all for it. But veganism relates to like 100 billion animals a year, whereas wild animals is 1 followed by 20 zeros. And veganism actually has a massive impact in terms of increasing wild animal suffering, much more than most people realize. It's basically like 1 million times more than people even begin to think of. True. And if you don't believe me, then you should watch the last video that I put out on my channel, because it goes into the details on that. All of the details on why veganism causes more suffering. Sure. Also, we can hear from you instead of James. Yeah, look, I've been trying to invite Shar onto the stream. Basically, every time she watches my streams, I immediately invite her just to say hello and just in case she wants to come up. But she's a bit shy, shy Shar. But she's also, beautiful. Anyway, moving on. Let's see. Can you be vegan and support this movement? Are vegans welcome? Yes. So the thing is that we support vegans and non-vegans advocating for the end of all suffering. And the thing is that we allow people to be vegan even though it causes more suffering, because going vegan, even if veganism did reduce suffering, it still doesn't reduce much, right? We're in an ocean of suffering, and you're only looking at what's in front of you instead of the ocean. So focusing on veganism, even if it did reduce suffering, would still be the wrong thing to do because it completely disregards wild animals. So also, if you're vegan, you don't get a bacon sandwich. It's a bit cringe. Yeah, we want, look, we would love to have a vegan world where no animal is being exploited. But if we did that right now, it would massively increase forests in the world and wild animal habitats. And again, the numbers in which they populate and suffer is like, you know, millions of times more than farmed animals. So farmed animals are a tiny, 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 tiny minority compared to wild animals, right? Tiny, minuscule, like absolutely just nothing compared to wild animals. Now, they do exist, and you know we should care about them and their suffering as well. But my point is that people completely disregard wild animals, right? Completely, and they're super ignorant on it as well, right? We've had vegans come up and debate on this stream where they, like lots of them, right? These famous vegans, right, with hundreds of thousands, millions of followers, famous vegans come up on my stream and they say stuff like, "Oh yeah, there's more farmed animals than there are wild animals." Which is completely incorrect, like ridiculously incorrect, like hideously wrong. So vegans are incredibly misinformed about even basic things to do with animals, like how many there are. They genuinely have no idea what they're talking about. They actually think that farmed animals outnumber and outweigh wild animals, but that's wrong. Wild animals weigh more in totality than farmed animals, and they outnumber them massively. Like it just doesn't even come close. It's like a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of the number of animals on the planet. And again, vegans are completely ignorant to all of the wild animal suffering. They genuinely think that wild animals don't suffer. They're completely deluded. So they're not responsible. They're not actually doing anything responsible. They're being completely irresponsible and causing more suffering. And they're discriminating. They don't care about human suffering. So we need a system that helps everyone, right? Vegans only care about farmed animals, but they're ignoring everyone else, humans, wild animals. We need a system for all, a system that is fair for everyone, for every life form. That's what the pro-extinction movement is about. That's why you should join our movement, because we are the least discriminatory, with the only non-discriminatory movement in the world, basically, that says nobody deserves to suffer, right? Every single other human or position or movement, whatever, they're all totally fine with people and animals being tortured horrifically. They think it's acceptable, genuinely, right? They genuinely think it's not a problem. And again, like I was saying earlier in the day, I think most of it has to come down to ignorance and being unaware. And part of that again is because they've evolved to be incapable of thinking about this properly. So when they try and think about it, they are forced to think about it in an ignorant way. So whereas a rational person would listen to the argument and say, yeah, nobody deserves to suffer, you're right, and they would listen to it and say, oh, just let them suffer, who cares, it's good for them, or something crazy like that, basically. So that is directly a result of genetics, a result of evolution, and a result of nature, basically, programming people to be irrational, programming them to have completely upside down thoughts, basically. And my research is actually uncovering a lot of this and a lot of the science on it. And I'm making new discoveries and breakthroughs all the time. So hopefully we'll be able to pluribus the world one day and make everybody extinctionist. It is something I am actually genuinely working on. But one of my recent discoveries while I'm researching all of the science of the human brain is that it actually specifically makes rational thoughts sound irrational. So when we're bringing rational ideas to people and rational logic to people, they have specifically evolved to respond to that logic in a way where their brain detects that it is logical and then makes them think that it's illogical. So that is a bit of a new discovery. and it's a pretty big one, right? That people are essentially allergic to logic. People are essentially allergic to rationality, and more than that, they have evolved to specifically think that rational things are irrational and that irrational things are rational, right? So this is a pretty big problem for everybody, really, right? Everybody is completely insane, and their brains are completely broken, turned upside down, melting. Like it's bad. It's really bad. Basically, think about it this way, right? Think about it this way. Imagine if every human on the planet was a Neanderthal, right? If everybody suddenly devolved and magically became a Neanderthal with like really low intelligence, it would be a disaster, right? It would be like, oh my God, nobody's intelligent anymore. Nobody can think properly anymore. Everyone's like attacking each other. They're eating animals. They've become animals basically. But that's what we have now, right? The myth, the urban myth, the legend, the myth is that that's not the case. But actually it is. Humans are essentially no better than Neanderthals, exploiting animals, hating on each other, allowing suffering, exploiting from suffering. So, we might look pretty and we might not look like Neanderthals, but most humans essentially are, right? They're reproducing without caring what happens to their children. They don't care about anyone else's children. They don't want to help make the world safe for everybody. They actually hate that idea. So, you say like, how about a suffering-free world? And they're like, oh, no way, no thank you. Right? So they have evolved to be irrational, which means like they reject rational thoughts. Nobody deserves to suffer terribly. Oh, what are you talking about? Get out of here with that opinion, right? So this is all absolute proof and evidence of what I've been saying the whole time, that people have a genetic mental disability, right? So yeah, people are Neanderthals, but another way to say it is that yeah, every single human has a disability, right? They are disabled, right? They might not be able to get benefits from the government for it, but they are absolutely disabled in the same way that people are in wheelchairs, people have learning disabilities. It's even worse than that, actually. It's like it's more serious because it specifically causes and allows extreme suffering. But yeah, it's extremely irrational, and it is a disability. People are not simply okay, they're not healthy. Most humans are incredibly unhealthy and have an extreme mental disability that they haven't actually realized yet. And part of that disability is it hides itself as well. The brain has actually evolved to hide all of this and to essentially keep the program running, the animalistic brain running, and to prevent it from evolving out of that, to prevent it from having thoughts which elevate it out of that. So it's terrible for humanity, it's terrible for the animals that are suffering with nobody helping. But yeah, we've evolved to be disabled. So, I'm hoping that we can cure this soon and nobody will be disabled anymore. But for now, every human has an extreme and terrible disability. And we need to start waking up to that fact and realizing they are essentially monkeys that can't understand the world properly, cannot function properly, cannot think properly. It's an extreme disability, an extreme illness. Okay, let's see if we have anybody else wanting to join. Portland has finally stepped up. Instead of just talking in the chat, he's finally going to say it to my face. Portland.
Hi. Well,
yeah, how's it going?
Sorry, I got something in the background playing. Give just one second.
That's all right. We've also got somebody else in the queue as a backup.
Okay, I'm here. Sorry, okay. I left my YouTube on. Anyways, yeah, we debated before, and you cut me off and called me a nature worshiper. But I've noticed you've been a little better at keeping people on. So I kind of want to pick up where we left off last time.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so last time I was trying to get to the point of how we live such short lives. The universe is billions and billions of years old, and there's a possibility that what we might believe to be true is wrong.
About
right? about like whatever ideas we might have. Like I'm saying that your 30 years, I'm not saying young people are dumb, don't get me wrong.
So what
I'm
about the
just saying,
police? Should we abolish the police because we don't know for sure if it's a good thing to have police?
no, hold on, don't sidestep it. Just give me just
All right, go for
15,
it.
20 seconds and then
Okay.
we'll get back to it. My
All right.
point is that the possibility of the accumulative knowledge of what human beings might be capable of is something that I don't think we understand yet. And I know you want to abolish suffering, but I think it's pretty arrogant to say that you don't think that it could ever go away.
So, Portland, do you think it's a responsible and correct decision to allow torture in case we ever find out a reason that maybe it was okay?
Sorry, say that again?
So your position is basically we should allow animals to be tortured because maybe one day we'll look back and think it was all worth it.
I don't think it's that simplistic. I'm partially, but not 100%.
Because that's what it sounds like you're saying. You're saying that, you know, maybe all of this suffering and torture, maybe we'll realize one day it's actually a good thing for animals to be abused.
Okay, so in that frame of mind, do you think
that
you
makes
can
sense?
create extinction? No, I hear you. But in that frame of mind, do you think you can create extinction tomorrow? It's a future project, right?
Well, it could, like, if we were to run the world, we could start today. So, you know, it's an already existing possibility. It's a real solution which could be used starting today.
But don't you think not like, you know, making everybody go extinct could also start somewhere in the near future? Like, what is your evidence that you have something that could happen tomorrow versus somebody who could find some sort of cure for suffering tomorrow?
Well, yeah, the thing is we have to make decisions based on this, right? What seems like the right thing to do? And yeah, it doesn't seem like anybody is going to create a way to make suffering impossible because it can go wrong, right? And unless we're making it impossible for life to evolve and suffer, then we're guaranteeing that that's just going to keep happening.
Well, okay. So, and I mean this in good faith. I think that's sort of the precipice where you and I fundamentally disagree. And listen, I tease you in the comments. I have no ill will towards you. I have you know, probably some prejudgments that I shouldn't have. But I think that our problem is that you think that at a certain point, suffering will never be removed from the earth or the universe, and we need to get. Just give me 5 more seconds. I apologize. That you think that suffering needs to be removed completely, and you don't see a way out, whereas I do see a way out in the same possible idea of what the future might hold. Does that make sense?
Why can't we do both? Why do animals need to suffer?
What do you mean? How do we do both? You want extinction. I think that, you know, future civilizations will get rid of suffering. You want suffering to end now. I think that human beings could create.
So you're willing to risk. You're willing to take the chance. You're willing to risk the sufferers continuing to suffer. You're willing to say, let's do nothing and take the chance that somehow it will magically solve itself.
But again, do you think that you're gonna tomorrow find a way to create extinction?
Like I said, extinction's already possible. So you know, we could start immediately, right? We're not relying on magic like you are.
You know, come on, that's a straw man. It's not magic.
Well, look,
it's about future possibilities.
How can you make suffering impossible without extinction?
How do you create extinction?
Well, look, we've already made lots of animals go extinct, so it's you should really educate yourself on that, right? Extinction is actually very easy to do. You're making it sound like it's impossible. We're doing it every day.
No. Yes, of course. It's like it's what humans do, and I get it. But your idea is you want, if possible, the entire universe to go extinct. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my point is that yeah, human beings are good at, you know, making animals go extinct. I think it's something like what 99 point something % of all historical living creatures have gone extinct. I get it. It can happen. But that is a process that has taken, hundreds of thousands of years, if not millions. Like, how do you overnight just say, let's end it all?
Well, we're not saying overnight. We're saying we should try to make sure that there's no life being forced into unsafe conditions, into danger.
Okay, so why not go, we can't do it overnight. Let's look for a reason.
Portland, do you at least agree with the idea that no life should be forced into danger, an infinite danger?
I mean, yes, ideally. Yeah, that would suck.
Right. So look, if extinction was the only way, would you support it?
If you knew, and I'm a scientific person, if you knew for 100%, and this is my contention with you, is that I don't think you do. If you knew for 100% that was the only way, I have some mixed feelings on it, but I don't know. Because
That's the
I don't
problem,
think
is that you're not even willing to entertain the idea, even if it's the only option. So that's why you're being irresponsible, you're being irrational. You're literally saying that we shouldn't use the only solution which exists, and instead of actually helping people with that existing solution, we should go after a seemingly impossible solution which doesn't exist and may never exist, and that we should just go do that indefinitely forever while allowing the torture to continue, even though we could actually prevent it with existing solutions. So that just doesn't make any sense, Portland.
Okay, so let me give you one last thought, and then you can drop me down. How about this idea? There's a society that wants to create no suffering through ecological means, through genetics, through whatever scientific process,
but
versus your team that wants to just end it all, and let's just see who goes first.
You're thinking too small, right? Your standards are too low. No suffering isn't good enough. Suffering has to be impossible. If there's no suffering today and there's no certainty of safety, then there could be suffering tomorrow. So we have to stop thinking short-sighted and saying, I'll just allow suffering later on. No, we have to provide absolute safety and not take shortcuts, not do half measures. Okay, so we shouldn't be aiming for life to exist in danger. We should be aiming for life to never exist in danger. And so extinction is the only way to do that.
Can I say one last thing, and then you'll drop me down? Okay? I promise. I'll even drop down myself. Last thing I want to say is that there can be a race for a sort of scientific future where they could end suffering through a chemical level. You guys can have your scientific future where you want to end all extinction, and let's see who wins.
Yeah, but this is the safer way, right? Think about it this way. If there's no animals on Earth, there's definitely going to be no suffering. But if we just keep animals forever, there will definitely be more suffering, right? 100% guaranteed. So it's just obvious. It's just obvious that extinction is the right thing to do.
Obvious is not quite the term, but good luck to you, James.
Yeah, thank you, Portland. But it is obvious, right? When you consider that this world and universe is effectively hell, right? And if you don't think that's correct, then you are being incredibly dishonest, right? Because you have animals and humans being tortured. Most animals are getting tortured to death as babies, right? So if you don't think that this world is effectively hell, then you're just being privileged, you're just being ignorant, and you're just being naive. So the idea that we should shut down hell and stop all of the torture, it's just obviously correct, right? People are saying, let's not turn hell off, let's not stop the torture, let's keep it going because I'm enjoying it, right? Maybe we can just keep it going. No, these people don't want to turn hell off, they want it to keep going because they are the tiny, tiny minority with privilege who can make these decisions, and they're enjoying it. Right? Animals have no say in this, right? They're just being tortured. Disabled people have no say in this. Children and babies who die or whatever else happens, they have no say in this, right? So we only have the privileged people like Portland saying, yeah, let them keep suffering. We shouldn't end their suffering. We shouldn't take actions to prevent life being forced into danger. We should just keep the suffering going. So we're saying turn the meat grinder off, and people are trying to say maybe there's a way to, make the meat grinder not grind meat anymore, but still produce sausage. Well, how? Okay, look, we're all about rationality and honest debate here. And he left unable to continue his position, basically to defend it, unable to defend it. But everyone is welcome to come up here and to try and change my mind, to bring your position and to defend it, right? But how many times have we seen people say, okay, I'm going to have to step down, I can't argue against this? It's like almost everyone, basically. It genuinely is. Okay, Kelly coming up next. Let's bring them on. Hello, Kelly. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How about you? How's the pro-extinction going?
Yeah, going good, thank you. The movement's still growing every day. It's all good.
Have you killed anyone yet?
No. We're not about murder. We're for peaceful activism only.
Peaceful, like using gas bombs to infiltrate people's privacy, or?
No. If you're a violent person, I'm gonna have to block you from the stream. Goodbye, Kelly. It's nice to have known you. But if you like violence, then this is not the movement for you. We are strictly against violence. We need intelligent people, not violent people. Okay? And random acts of violence does not do anything for extinction. And if you think it does, then there's something really wrong with you, right? Because you're just completely ignorant to the fact that those life forms will be replaced by other ones. Unless you're trying to do extinction specifically, then you're not going to actually do anything. So it's a waste of time. I like a variety of views. Yeah, why not? And Portland was welcome to stay on for as long as he wanted. And so is everyone else right now. There's nobody in the queue at the minute. So if anybody else wants to talk, to debate, discuss, now's the perfect time for it. Okay, let's see. Portland is back, everybody. Round 2. Let's go. Oh, hello?
Hello.
Oh, it's not Portland, it's someone else, sorry. Jay, hello. How's it going?
Nothing but gumdrops and ice cream here. How's it going for you?
Yeah, rainbows and sunshine and, smiles and unicorn farts. All good.
Oh, is that a fact? So could you explain to me, how do you apply your philosophy? How do you use that every day?
By doing activism.
No, I'm saying how do you apply it individually?
You apply it with activism. That's the only way to apply it.
Oh, I thought philosophy is a means of how you express something you can apply to yourself.
This isn't
every
philosophy.
day.
Philosophy is just a waste of time. Activism is the step above that, right?
Oh, well,
level 1 is philosophy, level 2 is
something's-
activism.
How do you know if something's epistemically true and justified if you're not using philosophy?
Yeah, because you don't need philosophy to help others.
Well, you do need philosophy to help others, because otherwise how do you know what you're saying is true?
Well, you need logic, right? Philosophy for philosophy's sake is a bad thing, right? It's a vice, basically. So
I think you're just a sophist.
Well, are you doing activism?
No, I don't have to do activism.
Why not?
Because I'm talking about what's epistemically true. So how is this a justified true belief is what I'm trying to get at.
Well, I'm not trying to say it is, but let's talk about whether or not you think.
So you're not going to tell me how you know that this is a justified true belief that you have.
Well, you don't always need to know with 100% certainty if something is true.
So how do you know it's true then?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. When the police
So you
officer
don't know
helps
if it's
someone,
true.
look, when a police officer helps someone, he doesn't know that they're a good person.
You're just
right?
not going to answer the question.
Well, I'm saying that you're presenting an unreasonable standard. In the same
No,
way
I'm giving
that-
you an epistemic standard.
Why? We don't need it.
Yeah, you do.
Why?
Because how do you know it's true, and why should I believe you if it's not justified?
That's a great question. You should use your brain and think, right? You should watch
Okay,
the
so
videos
you can't
and
tell
listen.
me that it's true or not. Therefore, I don't need to believe you.
You're trying to abstract it to a specific thing, but actually,
Yeah,
that's
I just gave you
that's-
the
that's
epistemic
not
standard.
how that's how philosophy works, but that's bad for you. So
Why is
intelligence,
that bad? Explain why that's
intelligence is
bad.
better because you end up failing to understand things properly.
Well, you fail to understand things properly because you can't tell me why your beliefs are true.
Well, I'm trying to tell you now.
Well, how do you know it's true and you can't answer the question?
I was just answering you
But you didn't. You said activism.
because
That's a
you
non
keep
sequitur.
cutting me off. I was trying to tell you.
It's a non sequitur. That's
You-
why I'm
you're
trying
not-
to get
you're
you
not
to
gonna invite me
reasonably
to
answer my
finish
question
telling
without
you.
going into
You're not going to invite me to finish telling you.
Well, then don't give me a non sequitur answer.
So
and I
you're
won't
not
give
you're
you a
not actually
reasonable
interested
interruption.
in my answer now.
What's that?
So you're not actually interested in my answer.
You gave me a non-answer to my question.
So,
I've been
okay, we
hurrying
get it.
to another-
You're not interested in talking. Got it. Okay, moving on. I think we gave him too much patience, really. All right. Hello, how's it going?
Hi, James. I'm really sorry. Can I have commenting privileges back? Guys, he's muted me. I'm really sorry. I promise I won't troll anymore, and I'll back up Clint.
I don't know. We have to crack down on the trolls because
No, I promise I'm not a troll. I'm not a troll. I actually agree with you.
Prove it.
What do you mean? Prove it. I agree with you. Let's get started on this extinction.
Convince me that you're convinced.
What do you mean for convince you? I'm saying like I agree with you.
Convince me.
Oh my god, I can't believe this has happened. Una reversed me. Please, I promise I won't troll anymore, and I don't know what
I'm
else.
not
Hi,
convinced.
Trevor! Oh my god, I love Trevor. He's an icon.
Yeah, Trevor's good.
I know exactly. Hi, Clint. I love you.
Clint is the best, isn't he? What does she want from Clint? I think she's probably in need of some, attention and a bit of friendship. Damn, you must have something wrong with you if you can't even pretend to agree with this convincing. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. Trevor says hello. Hello, Trevor. Clint Eastwood says, existence is endless suffering, hell, whereas non-existence is no suffering, which is basically heaven. Yeah, non-existence is basically heaven in comparison to a life of extreme suffering. Definitely. Okay, Portland is coming back again. Let's see what's going on.
Hi.
Orlando.
So, I appreciate you having me back. Honestly, the only reason why I left is that, I've been watching your lives for a couple weeks now. I'm here pretty regularly, and you don't have much patience with your guests, and I didn't want you to, kick me in the middle of a sentence and go straw man my argument. But if you really want to have a conversation, let's pick up where we left off.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, we were talking about how the idea of what the future possibilities of things to come are, and I'm saying that we should believe in a scientific or rather just a scientific approach to finding a way to end suffering with keeping humans alive. You don't think that possibility exists?
No, not really. Well, but look, we do think it's possible, but we don't think it makes sense to basically, have an objective of life still being in danger, right? That's not fair. So it's not fair for any life to be in danger, and we have to apply the highest standard of safety from danger, which is non-existence. Whereas the lowest standard is having life exist in danger, right? That's the opposite of what you want if you're trying to prevent suffering. The opposite of what you want is to have life in a dangerous world like this one. People have this fantasy that we're in some sort of paradise, but it's the opposite. We're in the most dangerous world possible, basically.
Okay, so I'll grant you, which is not a good debate topic or a good debate tactic. Excuse me. I will grant you a position that I think that you sort of have your ideas from. Now, inevitably, somebody will have something horrible that they'll experience a torture, and the only escape is death, right? So you have this idea where, the ultimate, the pinnacle of escape from any kind of suffering is death. Okay, I will grant you that. I get what you're saying. I've even had a dream once where
It's not about an escape. It's about prevention, really. It's about prevention of suffering. It's not about escaping it. It's not about experiencing suffering and then escaping. It's about never being born into a life of pure hell ever again. Not needing to escape.
All right, that's wild. All right, let's imagine a species that's a million years old. Like, what are we? 35,000, maybe 50,000 years old as Homo sapiens, and we really don't know a lot. Would you agree? Like, as far as
Um,
what the universe has to offer, do you think that we know a lot as a species?
yeah, I do. Now, I'd say most humans don't, but rational people
Okay,
do. Rational people
touche,
do. We, we
touche.
we have a good understanding of what the universe has to offer, which is either danger or pleasure. And you can go after pleasure and allow people to suffer in danger, or you can go after danger and providing safety first.
All right, but like, let's rephrase that idea in a sense that the universe is, what, 13 to 15 billion years old as far as they know.
Yeah.
Like, 35,000 years doesn't, like, I get what you're saying. Like, it is, there's a pretty consistent, like, pattern that's happened throughout civilization that, like, after tens of thousands of years, it just seems like that is what it is. But in the backdrop of time, that's not a lot. You understand what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
but Portland, there's nothing worth living for really that's that important, right? In terms of what more advances we can make, it's going to be about more pleasure, and that's it, right? It's not really urgent. We don't need it. It's a privilege. There's no greater meaning or anything else that's important. It's just more pleasure. That's the only thing that we can advance towards, or more safety. Those are the only two significant things in the world, really, in relation to this. So the only right thing to do is to help the sufferers in the most effective way possible.
James, can I actually get a bit of like a background on you, just to help me like understand where your mind's coming from? Wh- You don't have to give me your autobiography, but if you could explain to me what led you into this like extinctionist thing, like not just like you saw a sign, but like what do you think led you to this idea?
Well, yeah, I went down like a left-wing rabbit hole, and I was, I couldn't find any sort of movement or political party that I found to be satisfactory. And yeah, I started realizing that the world was actually full of suffering, terrible suffering, and that we should do something about it. Basically, I started thinking about what's right and wrong for the world, and that leads you to think and to have awareness of all of the suffering, and it becomes obvious that that's the most important thing, the most urgent thing going on, and it should take all of your attention.
No,
And yeah.
sorry, go
But
ahead.
most people aren't thinking about what they should do for the world. They don't care, and they only focus on themselves. Right? They'll never do activism. They'll never join a movement. They'll never rally for a political party or anything like that. They'll guarantee that the world is run by terrible people and in a terrible way by never ever participating in any way, shape, or form.
I Okay, I get what you're saying, James, but my point, or my question rather, referred to what led you, like, specifically, like, because you don't just like
Well, yeah,
go through a
specifically,
rabbit
it
hole.
was when I was thinking about how to solve all the problems in the world, basically. Essentially, when you're thinking about the world in a responsible way and what the world should look like, instead of appealing to what people think and what you've been told, actually thinking about it for yourself, that essentially forces you to become aware of all of the extreme suffering in the world, right? So most people don't make that leap. They never actually care enough to start considering what's right and wrong for the world, and if there's any moral obligation for them to contribute towards it. And so they never actually think about the suffering in the world. They never think about the world. They're only thinking about it in a selfish way, not in a selfless way. And yeah, if you do that, then you should end up being an extinctionist, right? Because you're saying, right, let's become aware of what's going on in the world. Right, there's extreme suffering. It's too terrible and extreme to allow. We have to provide safety from that. People having fun is not as important as people being tortured to the absolute maximum, right? Pushed to the limits of misery and suffering and pain. helping those who are being tortured like that is more important than having people and animals exist with very meaningless, shallow lives anyway.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to digest that all, and I get where you're coming from. But I want to kind of bring it back to my idea of like understanding like the capabilities of, or rather the possibilities of what the universe might have for us.
But
And
again, that's like a selfish. You're thinking of that for selfish reasons, though, right? Not for responsible reasons.
No, I disagree, because again, I think we're coming at it
So
from
how is that,
two different sides of the sword.
So how is that responsible?
Well, because again, it kind of brings us back to what we were talking about earlier, is how you're saying like we can't end suffering tomorrow, right?
We could start tomorrow, Portland.
You could start, but you can't
end
it all tomorrow.
Your alternative, you can't start it tomorrow, right? There is no way to start helping victims with magic, basically.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You can't stop it all. But look, you can't Thanos
Portland,
that thing away.
If we do animal extinction, there will be no animal suffering ever again. Okay? You cannot suggest a reasonable alternative to that, which is as effective.
But why do you not consider the possibility of science maybe coming up with a way to stop
We have
suffering?
considered it, Portland, and we've decided that it's not possible. So
why?
Only non-existence can guarantee safety. So the alternative to that would be omniscience. So without omniscience or non-existence, you are in infinite danger. So there is no way to provide safety, Portland, without non-existence, right? Because existence has danger, so it's not safe, basically. So there's no way to provide certainty of safety without either omniscience or with extinction and non-existence, right? Without omniscience, it can always go wrong. There's infinite unknowns, infinite danger. You're not certain that your operation is stable and safe and that is, can't go wrong, right? So yeah, life should never exist in danger.
I think you're kind of pointing out what I'm getting at. Infinite possibilities, infinite dangers.
But Portland, do you really think it's realistic that we could, sooner than extinction, which again we could start immediately, that we'll find a way to make it impossible for anyone to suffer while they still exist, right? Because essentially that would have to be heaven, right? You would essentially have to rapture everyone up into heaven. It's like a digital world now. There's no suffering, no danger ever again. But that's not a realistic thing. And even if you could do that, it could still go wrong. So without omniscience, certainty of safety, even a simulation would be unethical, right? There's still danger there.
Okay, all right. I got a good question for you. Then why do you think life exists?
Because of nature. It's a disaster.
You just think nature's a disaster?
Well, I don't mean that. Have you seen all of the harm it causes, Portland?
Have you seen all the beauty that it causes?
So, is there any amount of harm and suffering that would get you to maybe stop prioritizing the beauty over the suffering, and to start prioritizing the suffering over the beauty?
Oh, absolutely. At a certain point, but yes, there can be. But
so we need more suffering before you care about it, right? So how much?
No, that's not what I was saying.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said. You said that I won't care about the suffering in nature. I'll only think it's beautiful until there's a certain amount of suffering, and then maybe I'll care about it, right? So how much? How much?
Okay, all right. I'll flip that on you. How much beauty before you are okay with suffering?
But look, by that logic, right? A child abuser, as long as he enjoys it enough, then it's justified that he abuses a child, right? That's basically what you're saying.
No.
How is it different? How is it different?
It's a matter of progressiveness. Like imagine, 500 years ago where you sold your sheep
You're not answering the question. You're dodging. Come on,
okay, sorry.
How is it different, right? If somebody's enjoying it and somebody's being tortured, how is it different from, a child abuser?
I don't quite understand exactly what
You're
you're saying.
saying that it is okay, right? That's what you just said. That there is beauty in the world that outweighs the suffering, that justifies the suffering, right? So
Mhm.
by that logic, right, if someone's having a really great time, even if they're causing suffering to someone else, then it's okay, right?
It's not necessarily a great time. That's not my point.
So if the child abuser does have a great time, like they did on Epstein Island, right? They did have a great time abusing those children. Does that make it okay?
There's no like. Okay,
Then
hold
just
on.
a yes or no.
I understand.
Yes
Okay,
or no? Is child
I
abuse
know what
okay if the
of course,
abuser
child
enjoys
abuse
it?
is not okay. I get
Just
100%.
answer. Is child abuse okay
Child abuse,
or wrong?
it's wrong 100%. You don't.
Well,
I'm
even if
just
the
trying.
abuser enjoys it loads.
It's yes, 100% wrong. But that's why I was saying that
Okay,
it's
fine.
not about like pleasure when it comes to the beauty of the world. That's not what I would.
It
Or the
is though. It
universe.
is. So okay, what is it about then?
So, first time when I was 19 years old and I saw the Redwood Forest, it was magical. It was like one of the most
So
amazing
you
experiences of my
you
life.
enjoyed that. It sounds very pleasurable.
Yeah, I didn't chop down the tree and pleasure myself
That's a
to
low
it.
blow.
I didn't do anything
That's a low
horrible.
blow. That's a cheap shot.
Well, you're saying that a PDF is somehow
No,
deriving pleasure from
said
his horrible
that-
acts.
You asked me how much beauty would it take for me to allow extreme suffering, right? You're saying that there is an amount of pleasure that can justify cruelty to others, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly the same as saying if the child abuser enjoys the abuse enough, then it's okay.
Well, the world is binary. The universe is binary.
Portland, I'm not hearing an answer to that, really. I'm not hearing a serious response. It sounds like you're dodging because you know that what I'm saying is true.
No.
And it sounds like it doesn't sound like you are supporting child abuse.
No, I'm not supporting child abuse.
Saying if
I'm
the
just
abuser
saying
enjoys
it's
it enough,
not
it's
an
okay.
instant fix. That's all I'm saying. It's
You're
not
saying
instant.
you did say if the abuser enjoys it enough, it's okay.
No, fuck no. I said the opposite of that. I was saying that that's not what I was trying to get at. Of course, like I said, when I went to the redwoods, I didn't chop down the tree.
I'm pretty sure that's what
You
you were saying,
understand?
right?
No.
Okay,
That's
forget
not
the
what
tree.
I was
Forget the tree. Okay, let's get back onto the topic of, does extreme suffering justify pleasure? Right.
saying. No. Generally speaking, no.
Right. So then you have to have total extinction.
That's such a leap.
Why? It's a perfect follow on.
Well, because again, you're not respecting it's a cheesy term, but the majesty of the universe is amazing. You have no idea what is capable of what we are capable of.
So how many victims is too many?
Have you? I don't. There's no quantifiable number for that.
So it's
have
just
you
that
ever?
there is no number. So that there's no number of victims that would be too many. It's just infinite.
I said it's I can't give you. What do you want me to say? 1 million, 1,000,
don't
2? I don't know.
Look, if you're saying that your pleasure can justify the extreme suffering of others, then we need some details on how that works, right? Does that mean that are you saying that the right thing for us to do is to allow a system where one person is enjoying even if everybody else is being tortured?
James, you're trying to hone in by questioning me into a corner. But what you're saying is pleasure. You're bringing up pleasure. That's my point.
Portland, if that puts you in a corner, then that means that you're in an irrational corner, right? You shouldn't be in a corner. You should just be able to answer.
I'm telling you right now, I need to give you an explanation because you're trying to say, is pleasure enough for all this suffering? But pleasure is not the only positive thing in the universe.
Okay, what else?
Right?
Well, earlier you were saying there might be other positive things and that we don't know yet.
Exactly. Well, I mean,
so do you think there's an
joy?
amount of...
There's
but
love.
that all comes back to pleasure, though, doesn't it?
No, I don't think so. When I think of pleasure, I think of like a selfish gratification in a way that doesn't produce any sort of positive outcome for the world.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, let's say that you could send somebody to hell and you could send somebody to heaven, right? Would you send 100 people to heaven and they don't exist, right? They don't need to exist, but you're going to make them exist if you do this. Would you create 100 people and put them in heaven if it meant creating a new person and putting them in hell? Would you do that?
Yeah.
Really? So you would actually put someone in hell?
I mean, if they're innocent,
yeah,
then no. I don't know if that.
So 100 people in heaven doesn't justify one person in hell. That's interesting, isn't it?
So I think what you're trying to do is the train track theory, where there's 5 people on one.
No, I'm trying to figure out how many victims of extreme torture is too many, Portland. You're right. So you said that 100 people having fun at the expense of one isn't okay. So what if it's 200 people in heaven at the expense of one person being tortured in hell? Is it okay then?
James, I get that you want to.
Portland, it sounds like you're dodging immediately. You're dodging immediately.
Hold on. I'm not dodging. I already answered
Portland,
you.
if we're going to have a conversation, let's engage with each other's points instead of just immediately moving on.
Okay, all right. You're saying 100 people go to heaven and one person goes to hell. And you want me to justify that?
Well, I would
somehow,
say that
right?
No amount of heaven justifies somebody being tortured horrifically, right? So for me, it's simple: a zero tolerance policy, right? I'm not out here saying, oh yeah, 25% of people suffering is okay, or 31% of going to hell and instead of heaven is okay. No, I'm saying nobody should be tortured horrifically just so that others can have a little bit of cheap fun, basically. So if you're going to say that, yeah, torture is fine, putting someone through hell is fine, then really you should provide some details of how many sufferers is too many, because we could end up in a situation where 99% of the population is being tortured and only 1% is having a good time. So would you support that happening? And if not, then what is the ratio of people being tortured that you're happy to allow?
I don't know. That's a complicated question, but I will answer your 100 to 1. I'll take that.
So you would put a child into hell so that 100 people.
Well, now you're using a child to exaggerate the question.
Most victims in this world are children. So
yeah, and some of them are old ladies.
You would torture a child so that some people can have fun.
I would not torture a child.
But you would allow
for the child.
You would push the button which gets them tortured, though.
If that meant that the human species could advance to one day have an amazing suffering-free world, if that one child had to go or be tortured, I'll even use your radical situation.
So how many children is too many?
More than 50%.
If you're saying, which you are, that yeah, children should be tortured, then you should be thinking about these questions, Portland. We should be able to ask you for details on this. You're the one supporting children being tortured, right? You literally just said you would get children tortured in order to make more pleasure. So we need.
No,
details,
you're using
really
that word pleasure.
If you're going to say, yeah, children should be tortured, we need details. How many is too many?
You're being extreme in your hypotheticals, and I'm okay with hypotheticals.
These aren't hypotheticals, Portland. This is real life. This gets to the core of reality. This isn't hypothetical.
How many children are tortured each day?
World.
How many children are tortured each day? Do you know?
Millions. Billions.
Which billions of children are tortured?
Actually, it's more than that, right? Look, the number of wild animals which die each year as children is a 1 followed by 20 zeros. So realistically, it's more than trillions. It's like quintillions, sextillions. It's more than that even.
Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. There's 8 billion people on planet Earth. We were going so good, but
animals as well.
Oh, so it's not just human; it's animals as well. There's trillions of animals. I don't know if there's trillions.
It's more than. Again, it's a 1 followed by 20 zeros. That's much more than trillions.
Oh, that's probably involves unicellular life, etc.
That specifically doesn't include unicellular life. That only includes wildlife which can suffer.
James, there's no way.
It sounds like you're finished, Portland. It sounds like you're You're like, James, come on. No, look, you're finished, okay? You've been wiped out. You obviously can't argue anymore, right? And yeah, he was dumbfounded when I said, right, how many children being tortured is too many? He's like, what? I have to decide how many is too many? Can't we just have infinite children being tortured? That just makes it easier, right? Why should we have to put a limit on it? What I have to say how many children being tortured is too many? We can't just have unlimited. That's no fair, James. Well, how is that fair to the children that you're saying should be tortured so that others can have fun? It's not cool, right? So the thing is, it's very tempting to say, yeah, let's allow one person to be tortured so 100 people can have fun. But as I've explained before, it's really interesting. In order to have a consistent standard, it's actually logically impossible to support one child being tortured for 100 people to go to heaven, because essentially it's an impossible standard to maintain and apply. So yeah, Portland might have sent someone to hell and allowed 100 people to go to heaven, but he obviously wasn't thinking about it at all. And as soon as we say, well, is two children being tortured too many? He has no idea what the answer is. So on that same basis, you can't, say that his decision to send one child to hell is rational, right? He hasn't even thought if one is too many, if two is too many. He doesn't care. So when he's saying, yeah, we should send one child should be tortured so 100 people can have fun, it just proves that he hasn't thought it through at all. It's an emotional decision of, well, maybe, yeah, sure, why not? It's not actually thought through, it's not ethical, it's not responsible. And most of all, it is biased by an unhealthy obsession with life continuing, an unhealthy obsession with pleasure and existence, and as he admitted, the temptations of the unknown, right? The excitement and the thrill of life and discovering new things. But ultimately, that's just selfish, right? You don't need to do that. We should be doing that for the pursuit of responsibility and safety, and making sure that nobody is trapped in lives of extreme hell, not for fun, right? If you're literally focusing on, let's have pleasure instead, right? Existence is more important. Then you're guaranteeing lives of extreme hell. You're guaranteeing victims, because you're saying that you won't do the right thing. If basically, in a hypothetical where 99% of the planet is being tortured, for a chance that maybe one day things will be better, Portland and most people would allow that, right? Genuinely, this isn't a shot at Portland or anyone in specific. Over 99% of humanity would absolutely support 99% of the population being tortured horrifically, with 1% being happy, as long as there was some hope that it would change in the future, right? So they don't care about all of those being tortured. They want to have a happy life. That's all they care about. And they don't care who gets hurt and how many people suffer in the pursuit of that, right? It's obvious that these pro-lifers, all they care about is having a happy life themselves. Their obsession with existence and the sci-fi basically, and think about the amazing future of humanity. But is that really more important to where we can allow animals to be tortured for that to happen? And again, it's easy to say, well, they're out of sight, out of mind, so yeah, allow the suffering. But that's obviously not a thought out thing. You've not sat down and said, right, here's the logic of it, here's the morality of it, here's why we shouldn't do extinction. People just come up and they're just like, extinction, huh? No, suffering's not that bad, right? They've never thought about this. They haven't thought about it properly. And so their answers, their logic is completely malformed, unformed, non-existent, right? People are not thinking this through. They're not thinking about it properly. Is it better for many to be tortured or for all to be murdered? Well, you see, that's not really the situation we're dealing with. We have, we can either allow infinite suffering for infinite time, potentially, right? or we can try to provide infinite safety and zero suffering. You know, if you're not going to try and make suffering impossible, then the alternative is to allow the worst suffering possible, right? The worst things imaginable. You're saying, well, yeah, they might happen, but, you know, so what? And again, if you can propose a better way to deal with suffering, we will listen to it, right? You could absolutely come up and debate me and say, look, you should be doing this instead, James. You should be trying to reduce suffering instead of ending it. And if you can convince me, then I will, you know, change the background, and, you know, we'll get rid of pro-extinction. We'll get promagic.com. But, you know, again, it just doesn't seem like the rational thing to do. And again, if you reduce suffering, you improve conditions for life, it's still going to be in danger. So why should life have to exist in danger? Why should anyone be forced to exist, right, and to then be in danger? Because we're not just talking about life existing and suffering. We're talking about forcing new life forms into pure hell, basically. So you're saying we shouldn't make that impossible. You're saying we shouldn't make it impossible for, you know, innocent children and animals to be tortured horrifically to death, right? Why? What could possibly justify that? Portland's answer was, maybe if we just allow all of the torture, one day in the distant future, some magical reason will appear that says that it was all okay, right? But this is like a childhood fantasy or a dream that you had when you were drunk or something, right? It doesn't actually do anything good. It just supports extreme cruelty and suffering continuing. It literally speaks out in favor of continuing torture and children and animals being tortured. Extinction isn't magical, Portland. Extinction and non-existence and resting in peace has protected countless life forms, right? Countless times an animal, a human has been suffering and they benefited from non-existence. Whereas nobody has benefited from magic, Portland, right? Nobody is completely safe, guaranteed to be safe, realistically. It is so extreme, but how can this find greater acceptance? Well, that's a good question, Cora. Fair play, Portland. That's a good question, Cora. How can we find more people to agree with the pro-extinction movement? Well, firstly, we're getting more people to help grow the movement anyway. So it's already starting to grow and getting bigger and bigger. And secondly, we are also improving our methodology for growing the movement, right? We're getting better at debating. We're getting better at spreading the message. The message is getting sharper, more intelligent, right? Our debate tactics are getting better. So everything is getting better, right? We're at the start of this. We have so much room for improvement. You really have to think big and think of all the amazing things we can do together to make ending suffering possible. Sasha is asking how to become an activist. That's very simple. You can join the Discord or the WhatsApp group. The links are on my profile on TikTok. You can just click on it and you'll be able to join the Discord and the WhatsApp. The WhatsApp is also on the website. And you can start making videos trying to grow the movement, right? Specifically, it's an action-based movement. So it's not about philosophy or sophistry. It's about growing the movement, getting new activists so that we can eventually get enough people to make extinction possible. It's the only way to do it, and it's the only right thing. It's the only thing that's going to end suffering. You'll become an activist as soon as possible. Fantastic, good to know. We are happy to help you to start making videos and to start making basic videos, and we can teach you to get better and better at making videos, and we can teach you how to edit videos, which is really easy actually. Okay, if you download CapCut, the app, it's free, completely free, and it's extremely easy to edit videos on there. Like, it takes seconds. Like, it's really easy. So we can teach you to do that, and you can start doing it, and you can start making videos. The best way to do activism is to put your face on camera. Most people are making like text with music videos, and that's good, and it absolutely helps. But if you can take it to the next stage, get on camera and talk, then it's infinitely better, right? You're not going to go viral with a text video. You can go semi-viral, I guess, but you're more likely to go viral with your face on camera, basically. So that's what people should be aiming towards. And yeah, maybe, you want to learn about the movement first. You start making some basic videos, some text videos. You learn more about the movement. You get better at making videos, and then you put your face on camera. You can do that as well. Luke is asking, have we thought about doing rallies? Yes, our movement does street protests and rallies all the time, especially in Germany and India and Poland as well. We have people on the streets doing protests for extinction. Yeah, really. With real people in their face, we're telling them you'd be better off not existing, basically, and we're coming to make it happen. Yeah, absolutely. And we're growing globally. So yeah, you should join the Discord. You should join the WhatsApp. You can talk to me and the rest of the team there. We've got hundreds of people there now. And the more people, even supporters, you don't have to be an activist to join the Discord, but you should join the community, right? There's loads of us together. We're all in this together. And, we take the mickey out of, we make fun of pro-lifers, right? We have memes and everything. So it's a proper community, and it's growing. And we want you to help us grow it if you can. If you can't help us grow the community, you can still join it and you can still support us. This guy is actually serious. Yeah, suffering is serious. You probably haven't heard about it yet, but there's actually lots of animals, humans, and stuff going through lives of extreme hell, pure extreme hell, right? So we should make that impossible. We should provide safety from that, make it so that nobody is trapped in a life of extreme hell ever again. If you are extinct, there's no one to benefit. Well, you don't need to exist to benefit from not being tortured, right? So like when you pass away and you rest in peace, you're now safe from all of the suffering. When an animal gets put down, put to sleep, right? They're now safe from all of the suffering. That's why they get put down, right? So, but we should do that with preventative measures, right? We shouldn't make it so that you have to get put down or that you have to go through a life of pure extreme hell, which is happening right now to people and animals, where they'd be better off not being born, infinitely better off. So that's not fair, right? And if you think it is, well, I think most people would agree it's not fair, but if you think it's like okay, then you don't care about them, right? You're not thinking about their suffering correctly or rationally. A life of extreme hell is truly the worst thing possible. So the idea that we should just normalize the worst thing possible would be completely insane, basically, right? If we're against murder, we're against harming people, then why shouldn't we be against the worst thing of all, which is worse than all of that, which is to trap someone in a life of pure hell, right? It's the number one bad thing. You can't even suggest something worse than that. And yet we've normalized it. So literally, as the suffering gets more extreme, the more we normalize it, essentially. So that's pretty crazy. All right, guys, thanks for joining us today. And good news, since I've started using this background for the last couple hours, I've had no restrictions on the stream. So maybe I cracked it. Maybe we figured it out. Maybe it was just the background causing all of the restrictions. Maybe. So that's some positive news there. I'll probably have to delete that one. It's a shame because I like the background. No gifting possible. Yeah, I've got another 3-day heavy restriction with no gifting because TikTok just didn't like the background, basically. But if you want to support me, you can donate to me directly through my PayPal. The link is on my profile, and the link to donate to the movement, the pro-extinction movement, is also on my profile. I don't see any of the money if you donate to the pro-extinction movement specifically. I don't even control the PayPal or the bank account or anything for the movement. We have a treasurer in Germany who deals with that. So thanks for joining us, everyone. I might make a couple of videos, try and go viral again. One of my videos recently got, in the last 2 days, 300,000 views, and another one is on the way to 100,000 views. So Might try and make some more viral videos, get more followers, grow the movement a bit more. And yeah, join us on Discord to continue the conversation. We'll see you later, everyone. And thanks for joining us.